The OPP are worried that the Conservatives might get elected, and they're doing something they've never done before, political advertising. Representative of the OPP will defend that practice. Tomorrow will be the debate between the three top provincial leaders in the province. We will carry it here starting at 6:30 on News Talk 1010. So that's tomorrow night at 6:30. Full debate coverage and follow-up on News Talk 1010. Now, when we get into election mode, and sometimes when we're not even in election mode, we have various entities running advertising to try to persuade you in one direction or another with your vote. There's a collection of unions working together in that regard called the Working Families Coalition. It's a nice, soft, fuzzy-sounding name, but it's a bunch of unions that use a tremendous amount of their members' money in order to try to influence toward the left and they vote in Ontario. Staying out of that, generally, are the police. Now, the police have unions, and the police negotiate for wages and benefits and all of the other things unions negotiate for, but they generally stay out of politics. That's not the case this time around with the Ontario Provincial Police. We're running ads like this.
We're the OPP, and we're here to keep you safe. Tim Hudak says he'll rip up contracts, leading to labor strife and expensive litigation.
I'm here today to call upon you to make that sacrifice one more time.
Every day, we work hard for you. Who's Tim Hudak working for?
Joining me now, Jim Christie, President and CEO of the OPP Association. Mr. Christie, welcome.
Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
I'm doing well. What propelled you toward deciding to take this unprecedented move?
Well, Jerry, over the last couple of years, we have worked hard with the PC party, and in particular with the leader's office, to try to get our heads around the far right tack that he seems to be taking on many of the key issues that are important to my membership. So our association, it's not the OPP, let's be clear, Jerry, it's the OPP Association, who, after exhausting all manners of speaking to Tim and his leadership team in terms of why do you feel the need of to move towards a defined contribution pension plan for all new employees, when in fact we have one of the most robust and successful pension plans in the province right now at OPP. Things like, blanket, I would call it a very knee-jerk reaction to the arbitration systems, when in fact very few police services use the arbitration system. And in our case, we haven't used it since 1993 in the Bob Ray days. But, I just want to be clear, this is not an endorsement of the Liberals. It's not an endorsement of the NDP. It's us voicing our concerns through the public forum to the actions that the PC leader has taken.
Well, I don't think you've had to use arbitration because police generally, from my understanding and reading up on it this morning, police in Canada enjoy increases beyond inflation and the other things the rest of us are subject to, and have had increases the rest of the public, which pays the bill, has not enjoyed. So there was no reason for you to use arbitration. You're some of the best paid police forces in the world.
Yeah, I would suggest to you, Jerry, that the reason we haven't used arbitration is because we take part in robust, good faith bargaining with our employer. We're the only police service who works directly for the provincial government. We have negotiated contracts which have been quite successful for our membership with parties of all stripes. Since '93, obviously, we've done a few contracts with the former Conservative government, and we've negotiated contracts with the Liberals. So it's not about the government per se. It's about our focus is on good, hard faith bargaining. And we've given up quite a few things over those years to achieve some of these salary increases that you're alluding to. But let's be clear, police officers in the province of Ontario are very well paid. But we need to be very well paid. We need to attract and retain the best people. And one of the cornerstones of that is a decent retirement pension. Our members are going through things over a 30-year career that most other people in society, fortunately for them, would never be subject to. And it's really important for us that we have that. And Tim's the only leader who's talking about getting rid of our defined benefit pension plan.
Your ad uses the line, Tim Hudak would rip up the contracts. When specifically did he say he would rip up a contract with the Ontario Provincial Police?
I think he spoke in terms of his white papers, and I was trying to do a bit of research myself.
Yeah, but I don't recall him saying he would rip up the police contract.
Let me finish, Jerry. What I was trying to do this morning was go back to some of the white papers and the commentary that he's made before. He spoke in terms of one of our general meetings a couple of years ago, and he was quite honest. And let's be clear, Tim is very consistent, and he's been very honest. And he's a very personable man. That's not the issue here. He has said before that he will impose 0% wage freezes regardless of whether you're in the middle of a collective agreement or not. And that, no matter which way you slice and dice it, is tearing up a freely negotiated, legally binding contract.
You do realize we're in massive debt and the Liberals aren't going to fix it, and at least one party is going to try, and you don't want to participate.
Absolutely, Jerry, that's wrong. The Liberals have made it very clear that if they're successful, there is no new money in the next round of bargaining. So their expectation of us in the OPP Association is if you want to get a pay raise the next time, you're going to have to look within your collective agreement and be creative. And that's what we try to do when we bargain. This is not traditional union bargaining. I know you're very anti-union, and I respect that, but we go about our business maybe differently than a lot of others do. We spend a lot of time working 365 days a year with our employer, looking at what issues need to be maybe tweaked and see where there maybe are savings to be had. Although we did a catch-up this year that was well documented on our salary, we took a 2-year wage freeze. No other police service in the province of Ontario did that.
Well, maybe they all need to.
Well, maybe they do, but that's up to employers and associations to freely negotiate. It's not up to the Conservative leader to say, I don't care if you freely negotiate it or not. You're going to get zeros, and that's the way it's going to be.
We work hard every day. We risk our lives. Tim Hudak says he's a friend, but Tim wants to cancel our contract, cut our pay, and cut pensions for new hires.
It also means we need to look at our pension system.
We're the OPP, and we're here for you. Who's Tim Hudak here for?
Unprecedented situation where the police association is now taking a stand politically, and although they have not endorsed one of the other parties, they certainly are out against the one party that says that actually we need to take drastic action right now in order to get our budget back in shape. I'm talking to Jim Christie, President and CEO of the OPP Association. It seems as though what you're doing is proactively saying we really don't care that the province is in debt. We enjoy our big raises every year, and we want to ensure we keep getting them.
It's your words, not mine, Jerry.
I'm telling you what I hear when I hear the ad.
Yeah, that's fine. I can tell you what I'm advocating for. I'm advocating for a free system where we can collectively bargain, Jerry. We do not have the right to strike. We're not looking for the right to strike. But in absence of that, we have to have a fair system of negotiation, which includes a fair system of dispute resolution, which is a robust arbitration system. I have no issue with your opinions and your stance. I just disagree with where you're going on this one.
I'm going to read you a text message from a listener. They make a very good wage and shouldn't mix their wage greed with politics. The police must be seen as being politically neutral.
Yeah, well, I think that's a very naive comment. I think that like all associations, whether they're professional bodies, whether they're unions, whether they're labor associations, it doesn't matter if you're accountants, doctors, all associations are involved politically. I think that to think otherwise is naive.
Well, then I'll read you another text message. How much do these bleep cops want? The province is near bankrupt, you selfish bastards. Signed, Bruce.
Hopefully Bruce doesn't live in an OPP area, but Jerry, let's bring context.
Why would you say that?
Provincial. Well, I'm just being flippant like you are, I guess. The issue here, Jerry, is the OPP take up just under less of 2% of the provincial budget. So do we make a good wage? Absolutely. Let's be clear what my role is here. My role is to make sure that police officers and police personnel, our civilian support members, are well looked after. That's my role. I'm a 20-year police officer, and I expect when I finish my career to have a pension that was promised to me when I first signed up for the job. That's what my role is. I understand concern, and there's a lot of concern across the province about overall policing costs. But if you look at it in a pure contextual situation, we are 2% of the budget. I'm talking about the OPP in terms of the provincial government's budget. And have we made sacrifices? Yes. Do we still make a good wage? Absolutely. So I think we need to be very clear what we're dealing with here. We seem to talk in terms of, and I heard a little clip this morning about, pay duties and officers drinking coffee and all of that sort of stuff. That's discussions for different times. And if you want to relate it to this, I'd also like you to bring some balance to the sophisticated crime that we are investigating. I'm talking about child exploitation. I'm talking about the proliferation of internet crime and the fact that our members are involved in some of the most complex cases possible. So
well, there's no question about that. But at the same time, I read in the Globe and Mail that the number of criminal code incidents per officer has declined steadily over a 20-year period.
Yeah, and why is that, Jerry? That's because you have highly functioning professional policing services who are looking at not just chasing after barbecues being stolen off decks in the backyard up in Muskoka. We're doing intelligence-led policing, and we're doing community crime prevention. We're trying to build a safer society where, guess what, industry, business, tourists, and people want to come. And I believe we're being very successful in that. But if you look at it in a global perspective, we're actually one of the lowest police per population ratios. So we're doing all of this with fewer officers per 100,000 than Australia, the United Kingdom, U.S., France, countries like this.
I'm with Jim Christie, President and CEO of the OPP Association. Here is Gary from Caledon. Gary, go ahead.
I live in a OPP patrolled area. Given that your organization has basically said they are not impartial when it comes to election, if I have any interaction with the OPP, would it be wise for me to take my PC lawn sign off the lawn?
Absolutely not, Jerry. That's the context here. I live in a PC riding, a strong PC riding, and hopefully at the end of this, it will be a strong PC riding. The issue here is about the plans that Tim Hudak is going to implement that would affect my membership and all police officers in the province of Ontario, not because there would be a trickle-down effect. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the service level of delivery of the OPP or any other police service.
All right, before we wrap up here, do you understand where there may be a feeling that no matter how badly we're in debt, there isn't a public union in the province that gives a damn about that?
I totally disagree with that, Jerry. I spent half my life down in the city of Toronto working on the Future Policing Advisory Committee to try to find efficiencies in how policing services are delivered. You know, are there functions provided by police services now that could be provided by civilian police members who would obviously make a little less money? Am I looking at different systems in the province of Ontario where we have 52 police services providing services when in fact there could be economies of scale to be had with fewer police services like any other business? We're constantly engaged in looking for efficiencies in the province.
Jim Christie, President and CEO of the OPP Association. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jerry. Take care.
Number is 872-1010, 872-1010. By the way, tomorrow we'll have the full debate coverage when the provincial leaders go head-to-head, so maybe some of this will come up on the debate. It will be here at 6:30 on News Talk 1010, and the live drive co-hosted, along with Ryan Doyle, every day this week by Dean Blundell on In-Depth Radio, News Talk 1010.
In-Depth Radio.
We're the OPP, and we're here to keep you safe. Tim Hudak says he'll rip up contracts, leading to labor strife and expensive litigation.
I'm here today to call upon you to make that sacrifice one more time.
Every day, we work hard for you. Who's Tim Hudak working for?
But, I just want to be clear. This is not an endorsement of the Liberals. It's not an endorsement of the NDP. It's us voicing our concerns through the public forum to the actions that the PC leader has taken.
So that's the ad that the OPP is running, followed by a clip from Jim Christie, President and Chief Executive Officer of the OPP Association, on my show just a few minutes ago. They're not endorsing anyone. They're just saying don't vote Conservative. And by the way, Tim Hudak, because a lot of people like to say this, he's not going to fire 100,000 people. 5% of government workers retire or quit on their own every year. You can achieve a sizable cutback in the size of government by just not replacing the people who quit. And they have a right to quit, and they have a right to retire. And somebody else does not have a right to replace them in a government job. Here is Brian from Toronto on News Talk 1010.
Hey, Jerry, I'm just going to preface this by saying, one, I'm not going to vote for Tim Hudak. Two, I am pro-union. But this guy that was just on, right, the one thing that rang true, that sort of set bells off in my head, oh, we have a tough job and we need our pensions, and they have to be good pensions because our guys see some things that other people don't see. You know what? You chose the job. No one's going to thank you for doing your job. No one thanks me for doing my job. If you got to cut back like the rest of us do, then you all just better shut up and cut back, because construction workers go out there and we die every day on a job site. More of us die every day trying to put roofs over people's heads than these guys do eating donuts or setting up speed traps. This is absurd. They got to bite down hard, and they got to take it just like I got to take it. I'm really upset about what I just heard.
All right, Brian, hold on one second, all right? We